everybody, and welcome back to Cosplay as a Community Season 2. I am Jade Torres, your host, and thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you haven't watched the first episode of this season, or you need to catch up on last season's episodes, you can watch them all on Spotify and on YouTube. But without further ado, I have two cosplay guests today, and I'm going to introduce you to them. Xavier, aka CC Chariot, has been cosplaying since 2017 and has been going to cons since 2016. Most of his skill set in cosplaying has been in prop making and, more recently, makeup. Outside of direct cosplay, he spends a lot of his time at conventions preparing and running panels. He's also assisted in helping run smaller cosplay/anime-centric events like University of North Texas's MechaCon and the DJ Vocalist Show Virtual Sekai Project. Generally, he cosplays from a lot of video games like Yakuza, Tekken, and Resident Evil, and occasionally from anime that he's a big fan of like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Chainsaw Man. We also have Aldana, also known as Aldana Cosplay, who has been cosplaying for over 3 years now. AggieCon 50 and ACon 2019 were his first ever conventions, and he's been going to cons consistently ever since. It wasn't until Anime Frontier 2022 when he started cosplaying more seriously. His main cosplay skill set involves prop making, EVA foam smithing, such as armor, and sewing. He's cosplayed characters from various games and anime, such as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, League of Legends, and Yakuza. Aside from cosplay, he also likes to box, play video games, and hang out with friends. Hi guys, welcome to the show!
Hello.
Howdy, y'all.
Hello! It's lovely to have you both. I appreciate you guys for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
So let's just jump right into it. So how did you guys both start cosplaying?
You go ahead, Xavier.
Oh, yeah, sure. So funny enough, I'm actually not from Texas. I'm from New Jersey. That's where I first started going to conventions and doing cosplay stuff. It was at, I want to say it was DerpyCon 2016. It's a very silly story of, I did not know, I wasn't cosplaying at the time. I was just talking and meeting people. And I believe I sat down somewhere in like their game room at the time and randomly sat down with, at the time, a Gyro, Gyro Zeppeli, Johnny Joestar, and a couple of characters from Gravity Falls, since I was like very new at the time. And they were all playing in character, and we were just playing Cards Against Humanity. And for some reason, in that moment, it kind of just sparked, like, this seems like it'd be really fun to do, like, just to kind of dress up and get in character, go to events like this. And then that next year, I started going to conventions, and first con I ever went to, I dressed up as Koichi from JoJo Part 4. And pretty much since then, I've been doing it, like, yeah, pretty much every convention I've ever gone to, I've dressed up to some capacity.
Well, yes. And what about you, Tomas?
So I actually it was my freshman year of my college career, and I was just walking around my dorm room or dorm hall, and I found an advertisement for AggieCon 50. And this was completely new. I was figuring myself out, figuring what I wanted to do with life and whatnot. And it was like, come dress up and come enjoy talking about nerd stuff, video games and anime and comic books. I was like, I like all of that. So I did a simple closet cosplay of Ness from Earthbound, and I went to AggieCon 50, and I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of people, and then I was like, and then I heard later that year was ACon 2019, and I was like, you know what? I'll be back home because I lived in Dallas at the time. I'll be back home, so I'll try and go to this. And then I went to ACon 2019, and I had a blast. It was fantastic. I did Little Mac for that con, and it was a very poor Little Mac. My gloves weren't even green. They were actually black MMA gloves. So, but people still recognized me. They're like, yo, Little Mac. And just seeing all the hype and love that Little Mac got, and just seeing everyone else dress up, cosplay, it was awesome. It was awesome. I lived out in the country growing up, and not a lot of nerds in the country. Not a lot of nerds. I'd rather drink beer and go out on town, go to the bars or a bar, But so yeah, actually knowing that there was a community, a space to just geek out, nerd out, and to be yourself was pretty fun. It was pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Because I know you still cosplay Little Mac, and like, I know you still cosplay Koichi. That's so funny that y'all have been cosplaying those characters for so long. So that's funny to hear. And it's good to hear, it's good to hear. But you guys have been to a lot of conventions. So what are your favorite conventions? Or like, what is your favorite? And why is it your favorite? And why do you like go to it every year? Or like, why is it memorable? You don't want to answer that?
Yeah, no. I mean, for me, probably my favorite convention that I've gone to is actually DreamHack Dallas, which funny enough, it's not even. I know a lot of the time talking and being on podcasts like this, we would normally talk about stuff like primarily anime conventions. I am a very big video game nerd, so I absolutely adore going to DreamHack as much as I can. And in general, for me, it's I like being involved in that sort of scene. I like seeing like indie developers because a lot of different indie video game developers will be there, so you get to meet a lot of people and talk to them. Uh, and admittedly, I don't know if there's just a difference in the type of crowd that there is there, but the people there are way more like interested and receptive to cosplayers. Like it's been kind of funny like going there cuz a lot of people will genuinely just come up to talk to you and ask you more often than not, "Hey, how did you do that? How did you make that?" And I think it just comes from like having that sort of separate. They're not as familiar with a lot of it, so they're like, "How did you even think about doing this?" like, but no, I absolutely love DreamHack. I'm very sad that is not happening this year. I know that the convention center that's normally ran at is under renovation, so they can't. But it's there's that. So I'd say that's probably like as of now like my number one.
So I agree. DreamHack is a lot of fun, and they love cosplayers. I competed in their cosplay contest actually, the last time I was here, or the year before, and they treated us really well, and everyone there really liked cosplayers. But as for my favorite convention, I've got to give it to Anime Frontier. They just knock it out of the park with everything. When it comes to ADA accommodations, when it comes to paneling, when it comes to the dealers hall, the artist alley, um, when it comes to just having water, water stations, because that's a lot of walking and that's a lot of people. So you're going to get hot. But them having water stations and ADA accommodations, the cosplay contest is always amazing. Just it's also really big, and it's one of the things I look forward to the most in December, apart from Christmas, obviously. But
Apart from Christmas. No, I love it. Well, I've learned now that I have to go to DreamHack at least one time in my life, and then I
yes,
also have to keep going to Frontier. As I said before, we glaze Anime Frontier on the show because it is just like I agree. It's like probably one of my favorite conventions. I love going to Anime Frontier, and for all of the reasons that you said and more. So that goes, I guess, into my next question. So we all know the things, or most of us know the things that are at an anime convention or any nerd convention. Their staple dealers hall, your panels, your picture sites, maybe. But what are some hidden events that you think that people should do at cons if they've never done them before or they've never attended them before? Like, what is something they should go and do that would enhance their con experience?
Well, for me, like I wouldn't necessarily even say it's a hidden event, but it's something I'm seeing happen a lot more often at conventions. Is that a lot of them are starting to incorporate like drag shows into them, and I think that is fantastic. And nearly every single time that I've gone to one of them, they have been fantastic. Like it's, I think, and here mainly for me, it was actually I believe it was actually DreamHack Talos was the first time I ever saw and went to a physical real life drag show before, and from there I was like, oh, this is amazing. And now both me, a lot of my friends are now way more into the drag scene in general, and because I'm local to DFW, we go to a lot of local stuff out there now. but a lot of conventions I've been noticing are starting to incorporate it. I just got back from IkiCon about 2 weeks ago, and they had a fantastic one there that was really good. I know last year there was a convention, a new one, Otaku Oasis. They'd had one that was fantastic. I mentioned DreamHack already, but I think it's, and even more in general, I think this is not something that I necessarily would have thought to do prior to going to like an anime convention. But I think being open minded and going to stuff like that makes your experience so much better. So just for me, I said absolutely see it because the performers there are fantastic almost all of the time.
Yeah, I love the drag show. It's probably again one of my other favorite things that I know I've been to. I know we've had an episode with Project Braveheart on here too, which love
Mhm.
Project Braveheart, love
They're
Maya.
great. They're
They
awesome.
do such a great job every year, so I definitely agree with that too. But yes, Tomas.
I agree. The drag shows are great, really fun. But for me, honestly, I think the meetups. Go to
Mm,
meetups. They're very underrated, and honestly, that's how I met some of my closest friends now. Shout out XO underscore trash and Captain Oatmeal and a few others.
yep.
Because even if you are a casual fan, try and go to a meetup or some of them because you never know who you'll meet. You'll never know. You never know. You might meet your new best friend. And it's also just cool because like at an anime convention, obviously there are people there with the same interests as you. But when you go to a meetup at a convention, you narrow it down even further. So that way you have people that know what you're talking about more in detail. So
Yeah,
meetups.
I love meetups. I love meetups.
No, genuinely, like it's even at a funny at Anime Frontier, not this past year, but in 2024. Aldana, you remember I ran a small Yakuza meetup at that time, and that was I met a good chunk of people that I didn't even know in the area that were particularly big on the series, and it was just really nice to get together and just hang out and talk and just get photos and stuff like that. And no, he's absolutely right. It's like finding that bit of like a core community there is like great. Like, and it's you really got to go out there and like put yourself out there, and it's really worth it.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
no,
Yakuza
I
meetup was a
agree.
lot of fun. So
Yeah. I remember like even with JoJo meetup, like JoJo meetups are such a staple with the fandom, I think too. Like and this just for me like being in JoJo for so long, but like there's always at least a JoJo meetup anywhere. And I always try to go to it because I'm like, oh, but then I can see all my friends and we're all gonna dress up and it's gonna be so cutesy. So like I get it. I love meetups. Go to a meetup. Not been to a meetup. But um into my next question. So we've talked about conventions, good and bad. Do you think what are some things that you think that conventions do good for cosplayers? And then is there anything that you think that conventions can improve on to make cosplayers' experiences better as a whole when they go?
Sure, I think this one's generally a good thing. I just wish I saw it at more conventions overall, which is having like dedicated like lounge areas and like rest areas because cosplaying gets really tiring and overstimulating and it could just be a lot for a person. So having dedicated spaces to just actually get your bearings and relax. I know I know I've been talking about DreamHack Dallas, but they had like a fantastic like cosplayer lounge space where you could just sit down, big tables. They've dedicated waters and energy drinks and stuff for anybody that comes in. And I know that there are some other conventions that do that. I believe we talked about this before, but Anime Frontier also has something similar with their T space,
mhm.
which is also like super helpful, especially for how big that convention is. Just being able to get your bearings is like incredibly important, and I wish more conventions had that.
I agree. Having a lounge space is honestly pretty necessary because with some people, some people have like just very like simple cosplays, just some clothes, But then there's some people that come in full armor. Some people come in like with prosthetics, and then some people just come in fursuits, And all of that's very tiring. Frontier does a great job with it. DreamHack also did a really good job with it. When I competed in their cosplay contest, they had a whole separate lounge for the competitors and just for cosplayers in general. They also had a cosplay repair station, with like super glue and duct tape. Same with Anime Frontier. Big cons are usually really good about that. They'll have a cosplay repair table nowadays, a little lounge, and also just having tables to just sit at for like the general public. That helps out a lot. Frontier, I saw this year had a ADA designated space, so with chairs where if you needed just a place to sit, you could sit. But yeah, just having a dedicated repair station would be great. Dedicated lounge, and just being considerate of cosplayers. I think that's it, really. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I didn't even know they had an ADA station at
Mhm.
Anime
Yeah.
Frontier when I went. I wouldn't have even known. But that is really cool if that they had that and that they had extra areas to sit down. I remember they had like the whole like arena in the big open space was like open, but it was all seating, and that was probably the best. Like
That
just to
was
have
really
a
nice.
table, like
That's pretty
because
quiet.
the tables used to be over by on the other side, like where all the games and stuff were, and that got to be a little bit congested, and so I think they learned and they pushed it over to the other side, and that was perfect. It
Hmm.
just gave it its own space and it wasn't in the way, so I think that was perfect, and I agree with everything that y'all said too. um so something actually Xavier and I talked about, especially experiencing it's being experienced in kind of the DFW area a little bit more, is that a lot of these big cons are kind of dying out in a sense. They don't exist anymore. They're losing funding along those lines. So how what advice would you give to other cosplayers to build a community outside of cons, or what have you two done to build that space?
I think, I mean, yeah, you mentioned it earlier, but I think probably the biggest thing to do is to try to, if there already are smaller event spaces being like worked on, to just go and contribute your time to it in a positive way of like either volunteering or just even attending at all, because things like I mentioned before, like you were saying, it's like, oh, a lot of the stuff in DFW has been kind of falling through, but it's like there are still more events being brought in. You mentioned before Otaku Oasis. I believe this year they've the name is going to be Otaku Odyssey. That one's a relatively new convention that when I went to it was fantastic, and I hope to see it continue to succeed. Um, Even and if you can't necessarily find new events that are going on or smaller scale things to contribute time to, finding that core community and then building from it is really important. For one of the funny ones that I've seen is there is a Korean chicken place over in Carrollton called Toridori, and I go there pretty like consistently. Nearly every month, they actually do collaborations with different fandom groups and stuff to do specialty cup sleeve events. Which, while not necessarily the scale of a convention, it brings in a lot of different communities there to bring together artists and cosplayers and just people passionate about that like group or whatever it may be. I know there was a Homestuck one. There was a good couple of Love and Deep Space ones. There's like I believe there's probably a JoJo one at some point, but they do these things, and it's like getting that group together and seeing what you can do is really important. And then from there, you could scale up and meet new people and do all these things that are important for sadly like losing these spaces. You need to go out and put yourself out there to find these like communities.
Hmm. I definitely agree. What about you two, Moss?
I also agree. You're where put yourself out there when you can. I've also seen that there's also people hosting their own events at places. And then certain restaurants will have certain promotions. And honestly, even just going to the bars. I remember one time I went to the bar district in my town or my city, as dressed as Jonathan Joestar because I actually came from your birthday party, Jade.
Oh,
Oh, that's right.
So I was at your
That's
birthday
crazy.
party.
wow, that's
And I left. I went to the bar district, as dressed as Jonathan Joestar, and I had 3 people recognize me straight up. They're like,
That's
"Jonathan
hilarious.
Joestar, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Hey, you know what? You knew who I was, so let me buy you a drink." And I got to know them, and even then, the people that didn't know who I was, they were like, "Dude, I love the shoulder pads," or just they still very liked it very much, and you never know where you'll find community. It'll come at the weirdest places, but yeah, just go out there, go to social events when you can find them. Just go on social media and look for events around your town or even certain nearby cities if you are able to travel. Um, Go to libraries. Libraries will also have events too. If you're in college, check out your local college clubs. You never know. Overall, just put yourself out there, look for events, and if you see someone wearing some sort of merch, JoJo merch, um, League merch, whatever, like you never know, they might be a covert fan. Just strike up a conversation with them, like, dude, I love that keychain, and if they want to talk to you, they'll talk to you, and hey, you never know, you might have a new friend or not.
Yeah, I
So
definitely agree with all of that, which is so funny. Context. That's why my 21st was JoJo themed, so I told people to come dressed up, and then everybody came dressed up. It was fun. But no, I love that you say like too talking about like merch and stuff. Like coming from someone who's just graduated from college, like I would have all of my like charms or like the little things I would buy like from conventions on my backpack, and then I would be like, and people would stop me and be like, "Oh, you like this anime?" And I would be like, "Yeah," and like I never got like their number or anything, but like it was fun to have that conversation about it and like talk about it for a little bit, even if it was like a two second interaction. So I definitely agree. Like finding community where you are is definitely helpful.
I was gonna say, funny enough, even through that, well, it's not necessarily just like out in the wild. At conventions, I've made like long-lasting friendships with various like artists and artist alley just from talking to them about whatever fandom they're making art for. Like there are people that I met back when I lived up north. I used to go to Anime NYC, which also ran by the people who do Anime Frontier. A lot of I've met artists there, talked to them. We have moved completely different states, but we still keep in touch just because we shared a lot of similar like, oh, you like Chainsaw Man? Oh, awesome. Let's catch up on the chapters and talk. Like, to lore drop or whatever. Like, really, you can find those friendships pretty much anywhere if you're just willing to, like, take the time to talk. Like, which, you know, can be difficult, but it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I love my artist friends. I love them.
shout
Nidalee,
out
shout out.
artists.
The
True.
artists are the best. Well, we're almost out of time, unfortunately. But I have one last question for both of you. You'll be able to answer it however you'd like. And it is, how has cosplay shaped you as an individual? And I'm giving you the floor. So,
I mean, it's literally my number one hobby. Like, it's very much just shifted a lot of the stuff that I'm interested in and how I apply myself into different things. Like I will literally look at different like clothes and stuff at the store and be like, "Wow, I wonder what that would be good for." Like I wonder what that would be good for dressing up at. No, I Tomas, you will absolutely agree with me on this. I've literally gone to like a men's warehouse and seen suits, and I'm like, "Wow, that really does look like a Kiryu suit, doesn't it?" Like it
Yes,
really.
that's the
And I'm like,
thing.
"Yeah, no," but it's like it's. I'd say it's like genuinely like I've been mentioned like oh moving and stuff like that. Literally, cosplay is the reason why I have like such like a strong friend group as I do right now. Most of my friends that I've made like moving like to a different state have been through cosplay and have been held since through that, and also even just through conventions and stuff because even Tomas, you've been a part of my panels before, and also other friends' panels. The one of my closest friends, they go by shout out Kay Camarillo on Instagram.
Oh,
They run the Tumblr Sexy Man contest panels at a lot of the Texas conventions. I met them through their panel at I believe WeebCon like a couple of years ago, and we've been close friends since then. And like pretty much other competitors and stuff that have been in that people that have been in my panel. It's like it's created this nice big web of friendships through the convention sphere. And it's like without that, I genuinely don't know where I would be. It's like it's such a core part of who I am.
I love that. I love friends. But what about you, Tomas?
Honestly, it's made me more outgoing for sure. It's I used to be very shy. I used to be very introverted when I was younger, and honestly, going to cons has really sharpened my charisma skill, for lack of a better term. I feel a lot more confident in myself. I feel a lot more outgoing, and I know now if I ever have like a not so good interaction with another person, it's all right. It's okay. It's a okay. I've also have a new appreciation for design, character design, craftsmanship in general, from working with just from sewing to makeup to wig styling to armor creation, prop making, all of that. Working with my hands in general. Um, it's I have a really huge appreciation for that. It's a lot of fun. It's difficult, but it's fun, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And overall, just I feel a lot more secure about myself, a lot more confident in myself. I've made lots of friends. Some of them are very close to me, and I've also just had a lot of experiences, a lot of side quests. I completed a lot of side quests. I've gone on a lot of adventures, and I've just, I've had a really good time, and I really hope to keep making happy new memories in the future, going on more side quests, meeting new people, strengthening the bonds I already have with the friends I have, and yeah, I mean, overall, I just feel great.
That is so well said. And what a good way to wrap up this episode. But first, tell them where they can support you on social media.
Oh yes. So my Instagram handle it's cc_chariot. That's where I post pretty much all of my cosplay content. I do recordings of my panels and I post them there. So if you're ever interested in anything I'm doing, it will be right there.
And you can catch me at Aldana_cosplay on Instagram and TikTok. That is Aldana_cosplay. ALDANA_cosplay. I'm not really active on TikTok, unfortunately. That might change in the future, but I mostly post all my stuff on Instagram. And check out Xavier's panels on YouTube. They're a lot of fun. They're very funny. I've always had a great time at them, and I know you will too.
He's glazing me. Thank you.
He's glazing me.
No,
Well,
no,
thank you
I
too.
do. No, I do try to make it as fun as I can for everyone involved. So thank you.
Well, thank you guys for being on the show. And thank you for watching or listening to the podcast. As always, you can find all of the episodes and previous episodes from last season on Spotify and on YouTube. That's all I have for you for today. And remember, cosplay is a community, so make it one. Goodbye, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye!
See you later.
See you.